Dinar shift. The world of international currency speculation is currently experiencing an intense, near-feverish surge of activity, with discussions on chat forums, social media, and dedicated investor channels reaching a pitch not heard in recent memory. This renewed excitement centers on two currencies that have long captivated a specific segment of the global market: the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, and the Vietnamese Dong, VND. These two national monetary units have, for years, been the subject of persistent dramatic speculation regarding a potential massive revaluation, often referred to as an RV, that would radically alter their official exchange rate. The latest phenomenon sweeping through these communities is the circulation of a specific non-official date, December 7th. This date has become an anchor for mounting expectations, with some voices claiming it marks the cusp of a historic financial event, while others remain skeptical, viewing it as simply the newest addition to a long history of unsubstantiated rumors. The conversation, however, is impossible to ignore, and today we will meticulously examine the core reasons driving the speculation, the origins of this particular date, and what the historical context tells us about these cycles of hype and anticipation. The deep-rooted fascination with the IQD and VND did not materialize out of thin air. It is the culmination of years marked by significant governmental policy shifts, complex economic rebuilding efforts, and, crucially, the way official news is disseminated and then interpreted by global audiences. Both Iraq and Vietnam have navigated tumultuous periods of economic restructuring and recovery, which naturally invites outside observation and attempts to anticipate future currency movements. This dynamic creates fertile ground for speculation, especially when the perception of potential exponential gains is introduced. Such a prospect, even when presented purely as conjecture, often triggers a powerful emotional response in individuals, fueling hope and an active imagination regarding personal financial transformation. This psychological factor is what gives life to the cyclical nature of these rumors. They build, peak, recede, and then inevitably resurface, often with a fresh, captivating element. Today, December 7 serves that exact purpose, drawing tremendous attention simply by suggesting that a major financial turning point is imminent. It is critical to establish a factual baseline. There has been no official, verifiable announcement from either the Central Bank of Iraq or the State Bank of Vietnam confirming any specific, guaranteed revaluation of their respective currencies. The persistent speculation, therefore, operates entirely within the realm of possibility and psychological anticipation, rather than verified economic certainty. The enduring vitality of these rumors is as much a study in human psychology as it is in currency economics. When hopes and dreams are attached to the potential for a sudden, life-changing shift, the human mind tends to favor the possibility over the probability. This constant interplay between wishful thinking and genuine uncertainty is what allows the narrative around the dinar and the dong to remain compelling and ever-present, regardless of official governmental silence on any immediate dramatic revaluation. The emergence of December 7th as a focal point is not a random occurrence, but rather a pattern observed repeatedly within online speculative communities. Specific dates gain overwhelming traction when a small collection of influential voices or opinion leaders repeatedly promote the same message, often through niche channels. This constant, rhythmic repetition transforms a mere suggestion into a perceived event horizon that warrants daily monitoring and discussion. In the world of RV, revaluation, speculation, these dates function as vital anchors, a specific moment in time toward which the collective energy and expectation of the community can be directed. When the date passes without the anticipated event, the anchor simply shifts, but the underlying anticipation and energy are often seamlessly transferred to the next rumored time frame, sustaining the overall speculative cycle. The December 7 narrative has gained particular strength due to its timing, coinciding with the end-of-year period. This final quarter naturally prompts people to reflect on closure, change, and the hope for a dramatic, new beginning in the coming year. This emotional backdrop subtly enhances the believability of a significant, high-impact financial event for some individuals. The sense of a major change culminating before the calendar year closes is inherently appealing, weaving a powerful psychological thread into the purely financial speculation. However, a crucial distinction must always be maintained. Widespread hype and emotional timing should never be confused with official confirmation or factual evidence. Understanding this separation is essential for any currency observer seeking to maintain a level head and make rational assessments rather than succumbing to the pressure of collective excitement. For those who have followed the history of IQD and VND speculation over the past decade, the current excitement follows a distinctly familiar, almost predictable pattern. The cycle typically initiates with a quiet whisper, often originating in highly restricted or private investor groups, before gradually leaking out to broader public channels and social platforms. This is followed by a predictable escalation of enthusiasm as community members begin to search tirelessly for corroborating signs. Any small, routine update on the banking system, a minor government press release, or general international financial news is scrutinized and often magnified into a sign of the anticipated shift. The climax arrives on the rumored date, only to typically pass with no change to the official exchange rates. Yet, the very persistence of these cycles, far from dissolving the belief, seems to reinforce the conviction among some holders that the next cycle, the one currently building, will finally be the genuine one. A significant driver of the sustained speculative interest in the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong stems from the intricate financial histories of both nations. Iraq's economy has grappled with the severe and long-lasting effects of conflict, subsequent inflation challenges, and an immense ongoing effort to rebuild its infrastructure and financial system. Similarly, Vietnam has undertaken comprehensive economic modernization and regulatory reforms as it integrates more deeply into the global marketplace. For outside observers, a country in a state of major economic transition presents a perceived window of opportunity. Every announcement of central bank policy adjustment, every budgetary debate, or every foreign investment agreement can be, and often is, misconstrued as an immediate precursor to a monumental overnight change in currency value. The reality is that nearly all of these central bank actions, adjusting interest rates, managing foreign reserves, or implementing new regulatory frameworks, are standard incremental steps within a multi-year, strategic framework for long-term economic stability and development. These actions are designed for gradual progress, not instantaneous transformation. However, in the highly charged atmosphere of currency speculation, real, factual information is frequently seized upon and stretched far beyond its official meaning to support the much grander, anticipated narrative of a swift, dramatic revaluation. This process of distortion is purely a mechanism of speculative excitement, allowing ordinary financial news to become the fuel for extraordinary, unsupported expectations. The sheer potency of the idea of a massive revaluation is tied directly to deeply held personal aspirations. For many individuals, this scenario represents a powerful symbol of financial liberation, the ability to eliminate debt, secure housing, achieve an early retirement, or provide comprehensive support to family members. When a widespread rumor suggests the possibility of such a life-altering outcome, its transmission speed and viral reach across online platforms are dramatically amplified. The current speculation focused on December 7th is fundamentally energized by this universal hope. It rests on the belief among some that this particular moment in time could finally deliver the monumental value shift they have been waiting for, turning years of waiting into instant wealth. The convergence of such profound hope with pure speculation underscores the immense importance of maintaining a grounded and cautious approach. While hope itself is a natural and constructive human emotion, allowing it to morph into blind excitement without factual substantiation can lead to significant financial vulnerabilities. The ability to discern between a healthy, measured anticipation and an emotionally driven fervor is the essential protective measure for any observer of this market. It is this critical self-awareness and rational evaluation that ultimately shields an individual from making impulsive decisions driven by the pressure of collective, unsubstantiated hype, preserving a clear and objective decision-making process. Another significant factor driving the rapid escalation of these speculative waves is the pervasive influence of online personalities and content creators. In the digital landscape, a voice that speaks with unshakable confidence, even in the complete absence of verifiable evidence, can sound incredibly persuasive and credible to a broad audience. Social media platforms act as an accelerator, allowing rumors to disseminate globally to thousands of viewers within a matter of minutes. The entire progression of the December 7 narrative perfectly illustrates this mechanism. It starts with a single mention, is amplified by a few dedicated repeaters, and quickly transforms into a subject of intense, widespread discussion. At this point, many may begin to mistake the sheer popularity of the rumor for proof of its inherent credibility. The reality in financial reporting is that popularity is never and cannot be a substitute for evidence. In matters concerning large-scale currency movements, a diligent and critical mindset is far more valuable than simply following the loudest or most enthusiastic voices. Individuals who are new to the world of foreign currency speculation often encounter difficulty in clearly distinguishing between verified information and personal interpretation. Official information is anchored in government mandates, central bank data releases, and transparent financial statements. Interpretation, however, is merely one person's subjective guess or conjecture about the future meaning of that information. When the lines between official information and personal interpretation become blurred, the likelihood of accepting unsupported rumors dramatically increases. In the context of the December 7 speculation, a substantial portion of the heightened excitement is derived from these enthusiastic personal interpretations rather than from any concrete, verified financial announcement by the governing economic bodies. Developing the skill to recognize this distinction is paramount for maintaining emotional stability and avoiding the psychological pressure of a fear of missing out, FOMO, which can compel individuals to make premature or ill-informed financial decisions based on rumor alone. The psychological impact of circulating a fixed date in a speculative community is profound, often triggering a distinct countdown mentality. This fixed timeline generates an escalating sense of urgency and excitement, creating an expectation that a major, definite event must occur. Consequently, as December 7 draws nearer, countless holders of both the IQD and VND are watching with intense scrutiny, awaiting a definitive outcome. However, experienced financial analysts and currency experts consistently caution that sudden, dramatic shifts in a currency's pegged or market value are extraordinarily rare. Such genuine changes are almost invariably preceded by extensive, transparent economic reforms and official communications rather than being linked to secret, leaked schedules or non-official dates. The more an individual comprehends the actual operational mechanics of currency valuation, including the influence of factors like trade balances, foreign reserves, and long-term economic stability, the less susceptible they become to unsubstantiated rumors. Financial prudence is not intended to discourage interest or involvement. Rather, it is the fundamental foundation for protecting one's financial position. While following the trajectory of speculative excitement can be a compelling pastime, basing significant financial decisions exclusively on hype carries inherent and considerable risks. This is why a consistent recommendation from financial professionals is to adhere to practical strategies, rigorously seek verified information, and always understand one's personal tolerance for risk. For those currently holding the Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese dong, the most effective mental stance to adopt is one characterized by sustained patience coupled with robust realism. While the atmosphere of speculation generates significant emotional excitement, sound and beneficial financial decisions are born out of clarity and objective assessment, not from external pressure. The principle of transparency is also a vital consideration. Most new participants in this market are unaware that fundamental changes to global currency values are typically gradual processes, deliberately communicated in advance to maintain confidence and stability across international markets. When a rumor posits a sudden, massive revaluation tied to an exact non-official date, it should immediately serve as a major signal to pause and initiate a process of critical thought and verification. The current surge of excitement around December 7 provides a valuable real-time opportunity for all market observers to rigorously evaluate their personal approach to information consumption. Do they automatically accept claims, or do they diligently question and attempt to verify the source and substance? Do they engage in thoughtful reflection before reacting to news, or are their responses driven by immediate emotional impulse? Cultivating these habits of critical analysis and objective scrutiny is what ultimately empowers a person to make significantly better informed decisions, distinguishing genuine market shifts from purely speculative noise. The powerful role of community dynamics in these speculative cycles cannot be overstated. Online groups dedicated to these currencies foster a shared environment of excitement, communal anticipation, and collective expectation. When a date like December 7th becomes a daily discussion point within one's immediate online circle, the emotional pull to conform and share in the hype can be overwhelming. However, this collective energy also possesses the potential to severely cloud individual judgment. The most financially astute observers maintain a respectful and curious presence within these groups, but rigorously refuse to allow group enthusiasm to override their own capacity for independent, critical thinking and research. A consistent historical review of past speculative waves clearly indicates that rumored dates are almost always transient, shifting repeatedly as time passes. When one anticipated date concludes without the expected dramatic event, a new date almost immediately surfaces to capture the collective attention. This repetitive pattern has been a hallmark of the IQD and VND speculation for years. Investors who have studied and internalized this cycle are far less prone to feeling discouraged or pushed into rash action. Instead, they frame each new wave of excitement as a predictable continuation of a long-running pattern where public enthusiasm reliably rises and then subsides. Recognizing and accepting this inherent pattern is crucial for maintaining emotional equilibrium. Elevated financial literacy acts as a powerful insulator against the detrimental effects of unverified speculation. When individuals possess a fundamental understanding of how national currencies genuinely operate, including the concepts of exchange rate mechanisms, the practicalities of inflation control, the influence of international trade factors, and the actions of a central bank, rumors lose much of their overwhelming power. Knowledge of the basic economics of currency markets acts as a shield against the pervasive flow of misinformation. Armed with this foundational understanding, holders of the IQD and VND can anchor their actions in confident, fact-based rationale, rather than relying on unproven claims tied to arbitrary dates like December 7. While the December 7 date currently dominates online conversations, the vast majority of professional currency analysts and institutional observers focus their attention on macro-level economic indicators rather than single-day predictions. Both Iraq and Vietnam are developmental economies, characterized by long-term strategic goals that are realized through a slow, deliberate unfolding over years, not within the tight confines of a few days or weeks. Diligently monitoring these broad, sustained economic trends, such as oil prices for Iraq or manufacturing growth for Vietnam, offers substantially more reliable insights into potential currency behavior than relying on a circulating, unverified prophecy. Adopting this long-term perspective helps investors effectively manage and navigate the emotional ups and downs inherent in speculative trading cycles. Maintaining strict emotional discipline is perhaps the single most powerful and protective skill an investor can possess in this environment. The appearance of a new, high-impact rumor often triggers a volatile mix of excitement, anxiety, and impatience in many observers. Allowing these strong emotions to dictate financial action, however, frequently leads to costly errors, such as making premature purchases, selling holdings too hastily, or entirely misinterpreting routine economic news as definitive confirmation of the larger shift. As the highly publicized date of December 7 approaches, those who can remain logically detached and steady in their approach will consistently find themselves in a stronger, more rational position than those who permit market hype to compel them into rushed and reactive decisions. The importance of personal financial security extends to the principle of discretion. In the heat of intense online discussions, some speculators feel a temptation to publicly disclose the exact amount of IQD or VND they hold, or their precise investment strategies. This oversharing of personal financial details, however, exposes the individual to considerable risks, including potential scams, unwanted solicitations, or being specifically targeted by malicious actors. Prudent, informed observers always prioritize discretion as a core element of their financial safety, regardless of whether a date like December 7 ultimately yields any significant outcome. Protecting one's private financial information should always remain a non-negotiable priority. Genuine preparation for a potential currency event does not require an individual to fully believe in circulating rumors. It simply means ensuring one's financial affairs are organized, meticulously keeping all records of holdings, fully understanding the nature and extent of one's position, and maintaining a framework of realistic expectations. Being prepared is a universally valuable exercise, regardless of whether a dramatic event occurs. This state of operational readiness ensures that holders are well positioned to act swiftly and decisively on verifiable, legitimate market opportunities, rather than merely reacting to ephemeral speculative noise. Approaching December 7th with a sense of methodical organization, instead of mounting anxiety, is a powerful way for holders to remain in confident control of their investment decisions, irrespective of the final outcome. The most valuable asset an individual brings to the world of foreign currency, speculation, is a strong, balanced sense of perspective. Cycles of speculation are an enduring and inevitable feature of this market. New dates will perpetually emerge, and the collective enthusiasm will continue its predictable pattern of rising and falling. However, those who choose to engage with these cycles, armed with intellectual clarity, grounded patience, and an unwavering commitment to critical thinking, will consistently possess a decisive advantage. Instead of dedicating time to chasing unverified rumors, their energy is channeled into building a resilient, long-term strategic framework that effectively protects their financial future. The current focus on December 7th is simply another chapter in a much longer unfolding economic narrative, not its definitive conclusion. As the world moves closer to this heavily discussed and anticipated date, the final crucial takeaway is this: being fully informed with verifiable facts is an infinitely more powerful position than being emotionally swept away by the undertow of unsubstantiated speculation. Whether the Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese dong ever undergoes a major, official shift in value will be determined entirely by verifiable, fundamental economic developments, central bank policy announcements, and national reform efforts, not by circulating public prophecies or rumor-driven countdowns. It is imperative to maintain a state of awareness, remain financially grounded, and continue to observe the situation with intellectual curiosity rather than giving in to external pressure. This objective, steady mindset will serve every observer better than any single prediction ever could. To all the viewers tuned in to Dinar Shift today, thank you for joining me for this exhaustive deep dive into the accelerating speculation surrounding the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese dong, and the specific December 7th date that has so powerfully captured widespread attention. As we proceed through this period of high anticipation, I urge everyone to keep your personal expectations firmly balanced, your independent research practices rigorously strong, and your overall emotional mindset steady. In a global financial landscape perpetually saturated with rumors, the clarity of factual knowledge remains your single most reliable and potent investment. Stay smart, stay patient, and stay alert, and we will continue to monitor and explore this complex topic with you as any new, verifiable information officially surfaces.